Hey Warriors! Let's kick off a new season with our first episode on empowerment and illness. It's Gwen, and today we're going to talk about something that's raw, personal, and quietly universal. It's the part of chronic illness that's hard to admit even to ourselves: self-sabotage. Have you ever known what you needed to do to feel better, but still didn't do it? Why do we miss our medication? Why do we eat the foods that hurt us? Why do we ghost our doctors or cancel that one appointment that actually mattered? And deep down, you don't even know why. This isn't about judgment. It's about compassion and truth. That's what we're unpacking today. And by the end of this episode, you'll have a deeper understanding of why we do it and how we begin to stop. Not with guilt, but with grace. You'll see that self-sabotage isn't about weakness. It's about protection. We don't talk enough about the ways we sabotage our own care routines. Skipping a dose, delaying a refill, eating something we know causes inflammation. These moments aren't just lapses. They're silent screams. When your body turns against you, your brain does something sneaky. It starts rewriting the rules of survival. That skip pill isn't always forgetfulness. It's a quiet rebellion against control. That decision to push through instead of rest isn't always strength. It might be defiance. Chronic illness forces us into routines that feel endless, and that mental fatigue can lead us to sabotage the very things keeping us afloat. What if the very habits sabotaging your health were actually your body's twisted way of trying to keep you safe? But here's the twist. Self-sabotage isn't self-hate. It's self-protection. It's the mind's messy attempt to regain a sense of freedom in a life full of restrictions. The same way a child sneaks candy after being told no, we sometimes break our own health rules just to feel like we're the ones making decisions again. It's human. It's rooted in trauma. It's also a red flag that we're emotionally depleted. One of the hardest things I've had to admit is that sometimes I don't want to do what helps me. There were times I missed my medication, even when the bottles were sitting right on my dresser in plain sight. I walked past it every single day, and I didn't take it, not for days. Not because I didn't know better, but because I was exhausted from doing everything right and still feeling sick. That was my silent protest, and I paid for it with the flare that took a long time to recover from. But here's what I didn't realize at the time. The anger was trying to tell me something. I'll share what I discovered and how it completely changed my approach to self-care coming up in a moment. So I want you to reflect. When you find yourself skipping care, ask yourself what you're really trying to regain. Freedom? Control? A break from discipline? How do you handle the gap between what you know and what you do? Let's talk about the slippery slope. You miss one dose. You eat the wrong thing. You cancel one appointment. Suddenly, you're weeks behind on your care routine, and shame is screaming louder than your illness ever did. We've been taught that perfection is the goal, but that lie is what set us up to fall hard when we mess up. The truth is, self-sabotage often grows in the soul of shame. We internalize the idea that our chronic illness is somehow our fault. And every time we do something wrong, it feels like proof. That voice in your head says, "See? You can't even take care of yourself." That's not your voice. That's the echo of a broken system that rewards hustle and punishes vulnerability. Healing is like trying to walk up a down escalator. You've got to keep moving just to stay in place. And the second you pause, even just for a breath, it feels like you've undone all your progress. But that's not how healing works. A pause isn't failure, it's human. Illness isn't a fitness plan. It's a fight for balance. And acknowledging the shame without feeding it is one of the bravest things we can do. What if the shame isn't yours to carry? What if you were never taught how to fall without feeling like a failure? If you've ever felt like one mistake turned into 10, know this. You're not failing. You're struggling. and struggling deserves support, not punishment. Living with chronic illness requires mental stamina most people will never understand. Could getting better scare you more than being sick? Here's something most people won't admit. Sometimes getting better scares us. We've been sick so long, we don't remember who we were before. Or maybe we never even got the chance to find out. So when healing begins, or when the possibility of healing appears, it feels unfamiliar, even threatening. It can be emotionally uncomfortable, especially when our illness has shaped our identity. There's fear in letting go of an identity that's been built around pain. You've found community, language, purpose, or even routine inside your diagnosis. Getting better doesn't just mean feeling less pain. It means redefining who you are outside of it, and that transition can feel like loss. As strange as it sounds, many of us fear who we'll become without our illness. When pain becomes the norm, wellness can feel unsafe, even suspicious. Think of it like leaving a dark room after hours and walking into bright sunlight. It hurts your eyes. You squint. You consider going back into the dark, not because you like it, but because it's what you're used to. Illness, even painful illness, becomes a familiar landscape, and healing asks you to explore something new. So ask yourself gently, am I afraid of being well? Not because you don't want it, but because you've never known how to live without struggle. That fear doesn't mean you don't want to heal. It means you need safety to trust it. So how do we create that safety? What if the first step out of sabotage wasn't discipline, but compassion? We've been taught that discipline equals wellness. That's if we just try harder, we'll feel better. But that mindset is toxic when you live in a body that doesn't follow the rules. Discipline without compassion turns into punishment. What we need is a structure that honors our reality and our humanity. Let's call it gentle structure. It means setting up routines that flex with your symptoms. It means building habits that adapt when flares hit. Maybe you take your meds right after brushing your teeth so it becomes automatic. Maybe you have a flare plan in place so you don't spiral every time one sneaks up. These aren't rules. They're lifelines. Small wins matter. Drinking water, saying no without guilt, canceling plans and refusing to apologize for it. That's what healing looks like sometimes. Every act of self-kindness is a vote for your future. You don't need to overhaul your life in a week. You just need to make one choice today that aligns with the version of you who wants to keep going. Putting forgiveness resets in place is the key. Imagine your life like a garden. Some days, all you can do is water one plant. That's still tending to your healing. That's still growth. Even when progress feels small, it's still moving forward, and that deserves to be normalized and celebrated. Let's pause for a moment and hold space for what so many of us never say out loud, that this fight is lonely. But it shouldn't be. I want to share anonymous stories, moments, and confessions from others in our community who's faced self-sabotage and slowly, gently found their way back to themselves. I used to binge junk food when I was overwhelmed with pain, not because I didn't care, but because I needed something I can control. After my diagnosis, I stopped checking my labs. I didn't want more bad news, but ignoring them made everything worse. I'm learning now that knowledge is power, even when it's hard. I canceled my therapy appointment 3 times in a row. I told myself I was too tired, but really, I was afraid she'd see how defeated I felt. I'm back in now. It's hard, but I'm showing up. Do you hear the common thread? These aren't stories of failure. They're stories of resilience, survival, and slow transformation. We're not broken. We're adapting. And when we share these moments, we begin to rewrite the narrative that says we're lazy, undisciplined, or unmotivated. The truth is, we're grieving, we're tired, and we're trying. So if you've been stuck in sabotage lately, don't hide from your story. Share it with someone you trust. Or start by sharing it with yourself, in a journal, in your voice notes, in a prayer. Telling the truth is the first step out of the trap. Let's imagine something together. What if healing didn't feel like pressure? What if it felt like safety? What if every step you took toward better health didn't have to be perfect? It just had to be yours. That means rewriting the script. Instead of, I failed again, it becomes, I noticed a pattern and I'm learning from it. Instead of, I sabotaged myself, it becomes, I'm covering what I need emotionally. The way we talk to ourselves is a form of medicine, and many of us have been overdosing on judgment. One of the biggest shifts in my life came when I stopped chasing health and started creating a relationship with it. Not a performance, not a checklist, a relationship. Relationships have good days and hard days. They have growth, rupture, repair. Your body deserves that kind of relationship, one that's honest, kind, and willing to stay the course. This isn't a story of instant transformation. It's a slow reintroduction to trust. Can you trust yourself to start again, even after a spiral, even after weeks of avoidance? That's the healing we rarely talk about, but it's the one that changes everything. Before we leave, I would like to close with a special portion of the show I call Healing Heartbeats. This is where we allow ourselves to wallow in sorrow. Give yourself 3 minutes to laugh, cry, scream, cuss, or just sit in silence. Whatever you need to do to feel it, do it. Let the depression in for only 3 minutes. Once you've reached 3 minutes, compartmentalize it and get back to living. This is a rinse and repeat behavior. You cannot let depression take over, because when it does, it will not let go. When we hear about the passing of someone, they have the day they were born and the day they pass away. There is a dash in the middle. It's not a long line, but a short dash. That dash represents your life. Go live in spite of having a chronic illness. Don't let your condition stop you. Today, we peel back the layers of something we rarely talk about. How easy it is to turn on ourselves when our illness already feels like the enemy. But here's what I hope you remember. Self-sabotage doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're overwhelmed. It means you're exhausted. It means your soul is asking for something deeper than discipline. We're taught to heal through action, but often healing starts in awareness. What patterns are playing out in your life? What emotional wounds are being triggered? If you can begin to recognize your sabotage not as self-harm, but as a signal for compassion, you've already started the process of coming home to yourself. Let's be honest. We're all going to slip. We're going to cancel on ourselves. We're going to take 2 steps back sometimes. But the beauty of this journey is that you don't need to be perfect. You need to be present, to forgive yourself, to try again and again and again. And if no one told you today, I'm proud of you. Not for doing everything right, but for being here, for listening, for facing the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Remember, you have the strength, the heart, and the support to continue your journey. Be safe.